Hi, we're here with Vibeituonuo Kuotsu Solo, author of The Light After the Storm. This book is Solo's first book to be published, the contents of which we will be hearing from Mrs. Solo herself. So, Mrs. Vibi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself so that our listeners can get to know more about you?
Yes. So, my name is Vibeituonuo. I am from Kohima village. I am a journalist, and I also have a shop, an entrepreneur that is under the name of Sede & Mom, where I sell kids' clothes and accessories. And then I'm a journalist student, and I did my journalism from Delhi. And I also have a diploma in advertising and public relations, which I did from Delhi. And The Light After the Storm, this is my debut book.
So, about your book, which was released on 31st of October, can you tell us a little bit more about your book?
Yeah, so my book is born from both imagination and raw emotions, blending fiction with deeply personal truth. So I have 14 stories, and it is a mixture of humor, family stories, and it has stories of my grandfather, my father, and it talks about the society, Naga society in general, where each one can relate. From the eavesdroppers of the village, people in the village will relate to the story that I'm telling, where the walls will be thin. We hear everything and we know everything what is going on in the next door, even with the door and windows closed. And then I also scripted a little bit about my mother, what she had gone through to bring up her children to what we are today. And then I wrote something about my career, something that funny happened in my career as a journalist. And then I talk about the broken vows in a marriage. I talk about what women face while going through divorce, and what women face when her husband go out of the marriage and have an affair. And then I talk about a son's longing for love and resilience from his parents. And then I talk about how people in our society, brothers, parents, children, they are divided because of ancestral properties, because of greed. How we Nagas, one of our main problem breaking the family is the properties, and how brothers are fighting for their father's properties. And then I talk about a love charm, which is very popular in our Naga society. Many of the people don't believe that love charm exists, but this story I have heard from one of my grandmother, and I wanted to share it with the world that it do exist. And if you have read Estherine Curie's book, she had also talked about this love charm. And then I talk about the light after the storm. That is, it is okay to find, for a woman to find her own happiness. Because in our society, women are, looked differently when they try to find their own happiness. Especially when it comes to broken marriages, broken relationship, the women are always, blamed. And I write about how it is okay to talk about a broken relationship in our society, because it is mostly looked at as a taboo or something that should not be talked loud, something that should not be talked publicly. And I want everyone reading this book to know that it is okay to choose yourself. It is okay, or even if it is to be alone, it is okay to choose yourself. And this book is my plea to shatter the silence, especially to women, to ensure that they can speak openly about broken marriages without shame. I really hope that this will help break the barrier that silences the women in our society, and the strength to find their voice and courage to move on unafraid. I'll just read 2-3 lines. Family gatherings have become minefields. At my sister's anniversary party, a cruel irony, my aunt cornered me. "You still love him," she declared, as if reading tea leaves in my silence. When I snapped, she wielded out our culture like a blade. "Remember, in Angami tradition, the husband's family always claims the son." The room swayed. My boy's laughter from the garden outside suddenly sounded like something I need to catch before it slipped away. This was the unspoken terror that kept countless Naga women in hollow marriages, the price of living written in frightened eyes of mothers before me.
That is so lovely. There's so much to learn from your book, and I am sure so much emotion and intimacy has gone into writing this book.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much for putting it out for us. So, when you were writing, what really inspired you? I mean, you have already spoken about it, but
Yeah.
what was the thing that pushed you to bringing out a book, writing a book, and publishing it?
Yeah, I had always had my interest in reading books, and writing was something that I do in my profession also. But writing these books were not really on my list. But when I was in class 9, I had this English teacher who had always encouraged us to scribble down our thoughts in our diary. And it started there. But then I stopped everything when I started my college. And then I met Estherine Kire a few years back, and she encouraged me to start writing. And she told me to write everything that comes to my mind, in my phone or, on my diary, anything. So I started doing that. Thanks to technology, we have this smartphone. Every time something comes to my mind, I always note it on my note. And I always make sure that I write what came to my mind. It has been 3 years since I walked out of my marriage. And when I was very depressed and when I was very, emotional, distressed, I met Estherine again. She called me for a coffee, and we were talking about broken marriages and how it is unhealthy to stay in a very toxic relationship. And I was so encouraged. And there was another reason. I'm mentioning this for the first time. I have a son. My son stays with me. In our society, it is always the son that gets all the ancestral properties. And when it comes to my son, since I've worked out of my marriage, I wanted to make sure that since he stays with me, he have something to call his. And I wanted to make sure that he does not face any emptiness later, because he don't have anything in his name. Because as a woman, like I said earlier, we women don't get passed down our ancestral properties in our name. And that is something very big for men in our society, a big deal for men in our society. And I've mentioned in my book also, when I walked out, a lot of people told me to stay back in that marriage because of my son, because he'll be left with no ancestral property, he'll be left with no house, no home. But on the second page of my book, I've mentioned that this book was for my son. And I want every woman to know that it is okay to, walk out of a marriage, even if you have a son, okay? And to have a choice, even if you have a son. Because once you come out of that, you find yourself again. Because I've seen a lot of women who stays trapped in a relationship where they suffer so much, and people have different opinions about those women. So we women are characterized in such a way that we think so little of ourselves, and I don't want my son to face that later. So I came up with the courage to start writing, to leave something for my son later on, so that one day he can grow up and be proud of who I am, and not to be a broken woman's son. That's how I started bringing everything together that I wrote, and I found the courage to bring out this book. I have dedicated this book for my son. And yeah, I think because of my son, I'm able to do what I'm doing.
So empowering to hear your story. I'm sure anyone who reads your book will be inspired and empowered. Moving off to the next question, could you also share with us your writing process? If you are a planner or more of a spontaneous writer, what kind of a writer are you? How do you write?
Yeah, so I'm I'll call myself a spontaneous writer, because I don't have a plan for writing. Like I said earlier, my book is a mixture of everything. Every time something interesting comes to my mind, I note it down. Whenever I get time, I'll go back to my notes and I'll work on that story. I don't complete one story at one go. I just note down the topics, and whenever I get time, I'll finish that story.
That is so lovely. Everything that you have written, it must be from your heart and coming from deep inside you, because you're not planning it. You're writing it whenever you feel like it, right?
Even if it's the fictionalized book, the fictionalized stories, it has some truth. All the stories has some truth to it.
Okay, coming to that, your characters in your book are fiction, are they?
Not all, but yeah, some are fiction. but it has a touch of truth and reality to it, all the stories.
So there's also this thing in the writer's world. It's called the writer's block, where you get bored of writing or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't come up with things to write.
Yes,
So
yes,
have you
yes.
ever faced that? And if you have, how do you deal with it?
Oh yeah, I do get bored. Not bored. I think I get too tired to write. But as I've said, I'm a spontaneous writer. So I write whenever I am in my energy and whenever I'm in the the mood. So whenever I'm in the mood, I don't think I get blocked out of anything. I just write.
As a writer, you do the writing and most of it comes from you, but your publishing company also plays an important role,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So are there publications who you want to work with or that inspire you?
Rita is doing a tremendous job in bringing out local authors and amateur authors like me. And she is not only my publisher, she has also been a great friend, great role model. And you must have seen her articles in Morning Express and other platform. She's a great writer too. So I'm very happy working with her, and yeah, I will not trade for her for any other publisher now. She has done a great job till now, 112th edition, and I think that's tremendous.
What about any authors? Are there any authors or books that have significantly influenced your writing?
Yes, I love Esther Inkire's book. I do read a lot of books, but none like the Naga writers like Esther Inkire, Anyo Mefo, Rita Krocha. They have inspired me so much. I've read Keza Lili Wiso also, Dr. Keza. His books are also very nice. I love to read simple English book, and their writings are very simple. Their books, their stories take you to another world. You go inside that book, and their stories makes you imagine the unimaginable. So yeah, they are very inspiring. As a writer, I think it is very important to take the readers to a world where your writing is. Their books do that. I am very encouraged by their work.
For the future, what do you think will come up? Are you planning to write more books? What is up for you in the long run?
I really hope and wish that I'll write more books. By the grace of God, this book has been performing well. It's running well, and I have a few friends and readers who are asking for the second book again. Hopefully, I'll try to come up with a new book. I was telling my publisher the other day that I've been noting down some stories, and she was laughing about it, saying the first book has also not published, but you're thinking of a second book, and she was very happy about it. It will take time, but I'll work on it again.
I heard you mention that it took you around 3 years to complete this book.
Yes.
So the next book, will you have to wait that long?
No, hopefully not, because I started writing this book when I walked out of my marriage, and this writing was also something that had helped me distract my mind. But in between, I stopped writing again because every time I was writing, I was reminded of what I have gone through during my stay in that marriage. So I stopped writing for a while.
If you could co-write a book with any author, living or dead, who would it be?
Definitely Estherine.
What's the strangest place you've ever written or gotten inspiration?
The bathroom?
Do you have any quirky writing habits or rituals?
Not that I can think of. Yeah.
So if you could pick one of your characters from your book to grab a coffee with, who would it be? Which character would it be?
To grab coffee with, there is the story of one of my grandmother, the Enchantress in the Broken Vow. She talks about a lady who used love charm. I know it's going to sound creepy and psycho, but I would definitely love to sit with that lady who used the charm and ask her about the charm, because I'm very curious about how it works and where they get the charm.
Yeah.
And where, how did you come to know about it? She has become the Valiant of the story. So I want to sit with the Valiant and know about, why they did that, why and where and how. Yeah.
Coming to the last question, what advice would you give to aspiring writers trying to get published? Or anything you want to say to your listeners?
I'm an amateur writer, so I don't know what advice I would give to upcoming writers, because I'm still processing the fact that I've finally become a writer. Yes, but to my listeners, if you are a woman listening to this, and if you are going through something in your life, maybe in your relationship, personal life, there is always a light after the storm. And maybe I'm making it sound too easy, but I've gone through a lot, and through my experience, I want you to know that it is okay to move on with your life. And even if it seems very hard, it is okay to talk about it, especially if you're a woman. Don't be afraid. Don't be, scared that people are going to judge you, because they are going to judge you anyway. And if someone who is depressed listening to this, I've gone through depression, and I want you to know that it is okay to be depressed, but you need to come out of it, and you can do it, because if I can do it, then you can do it. And yeah, I think that's that.
Thank you so much for being here. Your story, I'm sure, has touched a lot of women, especially. And I hope we'll have you here again someday.
Yeah.
And good luck for your future.
Yes, thank you.
Please like and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell for the latest contents. Also, follow us on all our social media handles.